Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here, and I thought I'd make a video. I was just looking at, I don't want to give any names or anything, but a friend of mine who I lost contact with, and I was looking at just some of the stuff that he's been putting out lately, and to be honest with you, he's kind of gone off the deep end. And I was thinking about why and what happened and how this could possibly be. And it kind of occurred to me that what it is it's really when you sort of give up on improving yourself, when you give up on becoming what you want to be, and instead you just accept what you are. And it's really interesting because, you know, as I was thinking about this more and more, what it seems to me is that, you know, there's basically two modes that people operate in life. And one of those modes is the mode, and both of these I'd say are related to this idea of being yourself, right? I think this is a really important concept. I did this video on, you know, faking it till you make it, or being yourself. You should check that out as well, by the way. Just click the card, or it's in the description as well. But this idea of like being yourself is something that I think confuses a lot of people, right? So or being real, right? And what I've always said is that being yourself or being real is not just accepting and being how you are, right? You have to accept how you are right now in a given moment, but it doesn't mean that you just say that this is it, right? So I think a good way to describe this would be a fixed versus a growth mindset, right? And so someone with a fixed mindset believes that they're smart, or they're dumb, or they're attractive or not attractive, or that they're capable or shy or introverted or extroverted or courageous or fearful, right? They have these fixed beliefs about themselves. They don't believe they can change. They don't believe that people can grow, right? For the most part, they kind of believe that they are who they are and how they are. Whereas someone with the growth mindset believes that a challenge is something good, that they're going to learn something, that they're going to grow in some way, that they can become something else, that they can grow into that. And the difference there, when you talk about being real or being yourself, right? It's a good idea to be real, to be yourself. And something I've always held on to is this idea that, and maybe I'm just discovering it more, is this idea that being yourself, being real, is like the real self is who you aspire to be, right? Because the reason why you have those aspirations, right? If you think about it at a very meta kind of cognitive, the observer observing yourself level, right? If you can step outside of yourself for a second and think of it as a meta level and say, look, okay, this person that I am, okay, my avatar, let's say that, they are doing this. This is what they are right now, okay? And this is their aspirations. This is what they'd really like their life to be like. This is what they'd really like to be. This is really the personality they'd like to have. And if you look at it from an outside level, right, that's the real them. They're struggling to become what they are, right? And that's the struggle of life. This is, you know, if I were to say one of the main purposes of life, right, is to become who you are. Right? It's hard because you're not that, and this is like biologically true, right? When you're born, you're a baby, okay? You can not move, you can't take care of yourself, you can't eat, you shit everywhere, right? You have other people have to take responsibility. You're not who you are, right? I mean, that would you define yourself as a baby saying that that's who you are? No, you wouldn't. So it's kind of silly that when we become an adult, that we start to say, oh, that's who we are, and just be yourself. Well, you wouldn't say that to a baby. You would say, like, oh, don't grow up. Like, you'd be fucking fake if you grow up. Like, you just be a baby all the time. That doesn't make any sense, right? But that's what we tell a lot of people when we say be yourself, right? And so I think a lot of people, what they do is they get stuck. They're like, oh, fuck. Well, you know what? Becoming who I am, right, or going on this journey is too difficult, so I'm going to stop. Instead, I'm just going to say, I just need to be who I am. I just need to be who I am. I need to be real. I need to stop faking this shit. Be real, right? And they get stuck. They get frozen, right, in time. And if you want the formula for depression, okay, I'll tell you what it is. It's feeling like there's no growth. It's a lack of growth in life. If you're not growing, if you're not expanding in some way, you will be depressed for sure, right? And if you are growing, you're not gonna have time for being depressed, right? Because you're expanding, right? And if you look at my own life, you look at your own life, and you find the periods of time where you're the most depressed, it's probably the periods where you're experiencing the least amount of growth. Okay, not that's necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes you have to go through periods of catharsis or of a non-growth period where a lot of growth is happening internally, but you're not seeing that growth. Okay, and going deep down, and sometimes you need that. Okay, but my point is this: is that being real, being yourself. Okay, it's great, right? You should accept who you are right now, right? And you have to. In part of doing that, it requires acceptance. You have to accept where you are at this exact point, right? It's looking honestly in the mirror and saying, this is where I am. But to grow beyond that, you can't just say, I accept this and I'm not going to change it. You accept where you are, and then you say, okay, now here's where I want to be. And when you say, here's where I want to be, you realize that it's you. Like, you're the one having those desires to be that, right? Now, they may come from what you might perceive as bad motives or bad reasons. Maybe it's to show everyone, or maybe it's to be impressive, or maybe whatever it is. But whatever those things are, that validation that you need, that's part of you as well, right? And that's what you're seeking to become. And so you can't give up on that journey. You have to keep on progressing towards that, even though it may be hard at times, even though it may be easier to just give in and say, that's just who I fucking am, right? It's not who you fucking are. You have desires to become greater, right? We all do. We have this growth. That's where you're watching this channel right now, is because you have some kind of desire to be greater. And I was thinking about this a little bit as well. Maybe I'll do a second video on this, because someone had commented on one of my videos, and he said this word that I had not heard before, called incel. Okay, I guess this is a big thing now with like some of the stuff that's been going on. And the incel is this idea of like involuntary celibate, right? And the problem with this mindset, right? It's the same thing, like as my friend here that that's gone off the deep end because he's just like frozen himself in time. He's just like accepted where he is right now. He just wants to be that and doesn't want to grow any further, like in an actual real direction. But the problem with the incel group as well is that these guys, what they do is they say, okay, well, there's this Chad and there's these Stacys, right? They use this nomenclature to basically disparage themselves and to stick themselves frozen in time, like as if they cannot possibly grow, cannot possibly achieve what they want in life. They're going to be celibate, not to their own fault, but because women are bitches, because whatever, the world, like everything is stacked against them, and it's not their fault, and they deserve something better, but they're not going after it. But they've given up the journey, right? So I guess my message here, right? Again, without going too much into that, I'll probably do a video on the whole incel thing, because that's just so fascinating of a concept, but it's so sad, it's so tragic, honestly. Because it's not the truth. That's the thing, is it's not the truth, right? Just like anyone that believes that they're stuck with who they are currently, that's not the truth. That's not what you're meant to be. You're not meant to just like be a fucking baby your whole life. You got to grow up. You're supposed to grow into what you want to become, and we have the ability to shape who we become, right? But that desire to shape it is who we really are. So my point is basically this: don't develop that fixed mindset. Don't believe that who you are right now or where you are right now is where you have to stay. Okay, it all comes down to this. It all comes down to this idea that being yourself and being true to yourself and being real, if you really want to see the full expression of who you are, it's going to be growth. It's going to be change. It's going to be accepting that at some stage you're a baby, and that's fine. It's okay to be a baby. Not a bad thing. We all have to be a baby at some time, and a toddler and a teenager and whatnot. But we have to grow to become what we're going to become. And so right now, maybe your life is miserable. Maybe you're like, oh fuck, I'm this big fucking nerd. I'm a loser. Girls like me. I don't have any good skills. I can't make any money. All these things, right, that you think about yourself, those are the state, perhaps, probably even untrue, but the state that you're at now. But that's not who you are. That's just you being a baby right now and need to grow, right? I've gone through this. I've got a lot more to grow as well, and we all do. And the moment that you give up on this, the moment that you decide, I'm not going to grow anymore, I'm just going to be who I am, that's the moment that it all comes crashing down. That's the moment that you get frozen in time and that you get stuck there and you lose that momentum. And that's the moment that, you go off the deep end. So don't let that happen. Stop that. Realize that you can change your life. You absolutely can. I've phenomenally changed my life and changed myself as I've grown, and other people have done it as well. So, all right, that's all I got for you today. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and click the bell to get notifications on this channel. I'll talk to you next time.